Hi, I'm Harry Certain, a law professor at the University of Colorado Law School, and also a software engineer who researches artificial intelligence in law. I've been both surprised and impressed by the capabilities of recently developed large language model AI technology like ChatGPT. And I've been running a series of experiments testing the capabilities and limits of such technology as applied to law. Today I am testing the ability of ChatGPT, using GPT-4, to read arbitrary legal code, hear a portion of the copyright law, Title 17 of the Federal Code, and apply that section of law accurately to factual scenarios, which is something a lawyer could do. On the right side of the screen is Chapter 3 of the Copyright Code, which contains the rules for how long copyrights last. What I've done is paste the law directly into ChatGPT and asked it to create a step-by-step process for determining when a copyright work expired based upon the laws given. In my opinion, it's done a very accurate job of summarizing the rules based upon the copyright laws that I gave it. There are a few things that I want to point out here that might be helpful. First, models like GPT tend to produce more accurate answers if you first provide the prompt with relevant information rather than asking a standalone question without contextual information provided. So, for example, here I am going to ask the model questions about copyright expiration, but I have first copied and pasted the relevant copyright laws and then asked the question, rather than asking a question about copyright expiration on a blank prompt. This is called seeding the prompt with relevant information. Second, asking the model to convert law into a series of rules before asking it questions, as I have done here, helps the model make more accurate legal analysis. This is called chain of thought prompting. Now that it has converted the copyright laws into a series of rules, I'm going to ask it a legal hypothetical about copyright expiration that I would expect a law student in my IP class to be able to answer. As you can see, GPT-4 correctly applies the laws, determining that it is a single author book, that the term expires 70 years from the author's death at the end of that calendar year. I then gave it a slightly more complicated hypothetical where the author is also an employee to see if it could figure out that scenario too. GPT-4 applied the rules correctly there as well. I next gave it a legal hypothetical that my law students would find challenging involving two authors and a joint work. Here, it also did a good job applying the laws to this example of a jointly authored book by a father and a young son. However, it did not pick up on one nuanced legal issue that my best law students would have spotted, whether the father and son's contribution were severable and therefore subject to different copyrights. This is, of course, a minor issue, as I am just testing the limits of its legal analysis abilities. And when I followed up by prompting it about this issue, it did the proper analysis then. I next asked it to analyze the copyright expiration of real copyrighted works, such as Michael Jackson's song Beat It, to see if it could apply the laws I gave it to its general knowledge about the world. It gave a strong analysis that is probably the right answer based upon some reasonable assumptions. Following this line of questioning, I then asked it to figure out the copyright expiration of the Disney character Goofy. It also seems to have applied the law correctly here based upon some reasonable assumptions. Finally, I gave it what I considered to be a tricky example, Elvis's song Can't Help Falling in Love, which was written by 3 co-authors and was also based upon a tune that was in the public domain. I also asked it about the sound recording for which the old copyright laws apply to see if it could spot either of those issues and apply them correctly. Although it didn't spot the public domain issue, it did apply the copyright laws correctly for the other issues under some reasonable assumptions. But when I followed up asking it about the public domain issue, it then did a solid legal analysis on that topic. Overall, I am really impressed with the legal analytical abilities of GPT-4. I gave it an arbitrary piece of copyright laws, I asked it to summarize it in a series of rules, and then I asked it to apply those rules to give me legal analysis, and overall it did a really good job.